Yeah.
How did we find ourselves here, watching Derek take a hit straight from the rear end of a fermenter? To answer that question, we need to take it back to the day that we graduated from the garage. My name's Zach, and I love beer. Cold. Still. The winter is long and slow. Luckily, so are we at making videos. And on that cold day in March, we were heading to a brewery that would soon close its doors, but not before providing us with a crash course on going pro. And this was our classroom. It might not be the top of the food chain, like some of the places we visited in previous episodes, but we were a long way from our modest homebrew kit. This brew would be ambitious. You saw us successfully brew a double IPA, so the only logical choice was to make it a triple. Cue the dream team. While you're watching us fondle our grains in slow motion, feel the grain. Let me tell you about the Dream Team. As usual, I was joined by Derek on keyboards and Dave on the tambourine. Today we would turn this awkward jazz trio into a quartet by welcoming Ryan on the hydraulophone, also known as the H2O bow. Triple IPA means more alcohol. More alcohol means more grains. So our first lesson was on the fact that there will be a lot more lifting in the big leagues. We each took turns following Ryan's perfect form, some of us with more success than others. Derek was touch and go. Dave lived his life on the edge. And I looked like a new father at the maternity ward, trying to figure out how to hold his newborn. But barring a little spillage, we managed to get all those grains in there, creating a massive, delicious smelling bowl of porridge. Barley, wheat, and oats that when combined together in the mash tun showed the promise of thickness in our future. Then we got the hoses. Ryan led the way like the specimen of raw talent that he is. What a natural. In the brewery game of hoses, you either die a Ryan or live long enough to see yourself fumble around like an idiot, way out of his element as you get laughed at by your older brother.
Hey, he did it. Tightened his first hose. Attaboy.
There are probably things I'm good at. Maybe. As it turns out, Derek is also skilled with a hose. That's to be expected of a man who uses a toolbox as a pillow. I should probably get a toolbox. Science. We needed to lower our pH, so we put acid in the beer.
Wait, we're putting acid in our beer?
Yeah, put acid in the beer, buddy.
Why?
Lower the pH.
Nailed it. Lesson number 2. The optimal pH for a proper mash is between 5.2 and 5.4. After a quick stir and a few minutes of rest, we took another reading.
What does it read, Derek?
5.35.
We're in it now. In our first brew, we learned that clean equipment is vital, but in a system as big as this, the stakes are higher. And so, lesson number 3. One graduated cylinder full of melt-your-face-off acid will keep your beer safe and eliminate any undesirables. Now that the cleaning had been started, it was time to rearrange the hoses and start the transfer. Damn, these guys work hard. The base of our beer was almost complete, and our wort was locked and loaded. There was time to kill, so it made sense to have a very serious conversation. Which hops should we use? During the past couple of years, triple IPAs have carved out a really special, soft spot in my liver. Beers like Experimental Jet Set by Foam Brewers or Gatineau is Trending by Brasserie du Bas Canada have tempered my hop palate. So for our first stab at it, we needed something special. Derek contemplated the usual suspects, but even after sifting through over $30,000 worth of hops, nothing felt quite right. Time to call in some reinforcements from down under. As it turns out, it wasn't Derek's only hop stash. So he headed to his pub, Brewski, in the old port of Montreal, where he safeguarded his prized hops, deep in the bowels of yet another fridge that he owned.
That's hops?
Yeah.
That's hops.
Topaz and Vic Secret.
Before heading back, we took a quick peek at Brewski's new tap room and brewery, which would be the loving home for our beer baby. Hey, the water's warm. Why don't you get in? When we returned, we were greeted by a strong, girthy boil. And since our grains were spent, we decided to clean up the mess. Ryan insisted on maintaining the integrity of his mash tun at all costs. And look at how adorable he is. All up inside that thing. Beautiful blue eye. Next step was to clear the lines and push out all of the acid. Otherwise, the hero becomes the villain. A quick taste test to make sure we were on the right track, and then it was time to crack open the hops. The Tasmanian devil himself, Vic Secret. A godly blend of tropical fruits that suggests someone named Vic asked the question, "Can I get a whole pineapple into a single hop pellet?" You did it, Vic. The silent guardian. The watchful protector. Our dark knight. The boil was completed, and the hops were tossed in, marking the beginning of our whirlpool. A crucial step in the process that isn't possible with our homebrew setup. A beautiful jacuzzi for our hops that will extract the aromas without all the bitterness you get from throwing them into the boil. Couple of valves, couple of levers, and we're in business. Transferring our beer out of the kettle and into the fermenter that will be its home for the next 2 weeks. This isn't important at all. We just really liked how it looked. We prepared a little vessel, a place where our yeast and a bit of wort can go on a first date before they make any long-term commitments. The final step before we call it a day. And here we are back at the start. Derek with a mouth full of beer juice. Fast forward about 3 weeks, and it's game day. Still winter, though. Remember that tap room and brewery we talked about? What a difference 3 weeks makes. This right here is one of Derek's own creations. Part of a lineup of over 30 beers on tap from across Quebec. A safe haven for beer nerds. Before we add our plaque to the wall of fame, we're heading into yet another one of Derek's fridges. Ooh, this one's the most impressive yet. Wait, new show idea. Derek's fridges. This is the moment we've been waiting for, plugging in the first ever keg of a Pourno brew that will be sold to the public. And now the moment of truth. The process is hard, from the constant exposure to the heat of the kettle to the dangers of throwing acid around. Even just the constant cleaning throughout the entire journey. All of it could be tossed out the window at a moment's notice, from any number of things that could go wrong. But when you crack open that keg and take the first sip, you realize that it was all worth it, because you've created something that can be consumed and enjoyed by many people. We called this one Thicc as Thieves. As the name suggests, our grain bill did what it was supposed to do. 9.1%, dangerous. With this beer, we wanted to create a glimpse of what we found in our travels to share with those around us, so that they too can witness and romanticize the incredible beer that we have found. But when trying to stack up to the greats like Hetty Topper or Julius, our only hope was to do those beers justice. The general consensus was that Thicc as Thieves was a tall glass of juice that leads to feeling no pain. For now, that's enough. But what did Ryan think? I never want to see disappointment in those eyes. Oh, thank God. Ooh, baby, it's that time again.
Ooh, baby, it's that time again.
Slow motion pours.
Slow motion pour for you, baby.
Feel the haze.
You got a hazy beer and a juicy beer.
Maybe hit a like or share.
Don't forget to subscribe as well.
Tell your cousin.